Along the Pacific Coast in Seaside, California, the sun setting majestically over Cardinale Stadium. Monterey Bay is on the downslide. Winless in 6, but welcoming back Alec Dixon, their top attacking threat. Charleston are riding high, most points in the league with the championship's top scorer, Nick Marcanic, back in the lineup. Monterey Bay and Charleston right now on CBS Sports. Late in May, it is a big interconference matchup on CBS Sports out of the USL Championship. Monterey Bay ready to welcome last year's championship runners-up, the Charleston Battery. And good evening, everybody. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, and what a great matchup we've got for you tonight. You got the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. You've got the #5 team out of the Western Conference, and optically that looks great, but both facing a little adversity here tonight.
The Charleston Battery started 11 games unbeaten in USL Championship play. That's the 6th best start in USL Championship history. But now back-to-back losses in all competitions. So can you go cross-conference, cross-country, and try and find a way to get back into this, right? Especially with Louisville City trailing. Monterey Bay are a different conversation because of all their injuries that they've had to face and just surviving right now in the Western Conference. Just 3 points between 3rd and 9th.
Take a look at the Eastern Conference standings and get a grip on this. Louisville 5-1 over Detroit with a game in hand. So Charleston has pursued hot on their tail. But the key for them this year, Devin, has been balance. How about we go ahead of the curve?
Finding a way to be atop the conversation when it comes to attacking and defending in the USL Championship is what the Charleston Battery are chasing. Well, how have they done that? They've added depth, but quality of players that have allowed Ben Pierman to add layers to this thing defensively. It's not an all-out press on a regular basis. Instead, they push you into uncomfortable situations, the +1 mentality, 5v4 defensively, 4v3, and then make you make the mistake for them. So with all that pressure comes a higher line of confrontation on the turnovers to allow them to go explore the depths of their artistry. That same idea of the numerical prowess, it's almost used against them, but they're so good at exploiting the spaces. So utilizing the 9 and up, down, out route that gets them to the far side of the pitch to find the hottest striker in the USL Championship and Nick Marcanic. But again, this is about balance. This is about finding a way to make sure that you're atop on both categories. I think they've done pretty well for themselves. Top 5 in all major categories on your screen right now. So it's not just producing goals or shots. It's how good can you be when you get into those spots. Top 4 conversion rate. No team has ever won the USL Championship title outside the top 5, Mike.
Meanwhile, let's take a look at the Western Conference. Monterey Bay in a 3-way tie on 15 points, 4th and 6th place. New Mexico atop by 7 at the moment. Meanwhile, Sacramento just 1 point off that pace and still unbeaten. The lone team in the championship that can make that claim. Dev, as it pertains to Monterey Bay tonight, it's going to start and end with Rafa Baca's ability to dictate this game.
Frank Yallop just has a list of walking wounded right now within his dressing room, and so he's gotten Baca back, which is important within the midfield. This guy controls everything. It's the distribution coming off the back line, finding a way to keep this team together defensively, but also finding those movements going forward. Over 400 appearances between Liga MX and MLS. Not too shabby to have that in your back pocket if you're Frank Yallop.
And so Baca among those ready to roll for the Union tonight. Couple players making their first professional start. Hopefully it's not them. Countdown is on. Monterey Bay and Charleston coming up next on CBS Sports Network. Championship is on CBS Sports. Charleston Battery and Monterey Bay make their way onto the field at Cardinale Stadium in Seaside. With Dev and Mike, take a look at the Monterey Bay starting lineup, and they've made a few changes. Notably, they got Alex Dixon back.
Good news for Frank Yallop, though. He's got a lot of ball carriers, guys that are comfortable on the ball, regardless of area on the pitch. They got to stay tight here. Make sure they keep the attacks on the outside because of the way that the Charleston Battery are going to come at them. Now, the Charleston Battery are great in so many different areas that it's difficult to narrow them to just one, but a good blueprint against Atlanta United in the U.S. Open Cup. Eliminate Nick Marcanic on the outside. Try and find him in one-on-one situations. Push him down into the width. Make them work off the ball. It's the most important thing. Try and find spaces in between.
Elvis has entered the building. Elvis Osmanovic, our referee here this evening in Seaside, offers the opening whistle, and here we go. Monterey Bay forces a false start. Marcanic's ready to play. He had an extra 30-yard sprint in him tonight. Let's play ball. Monterey Bay hosting the Charleston Battery on this Wednesday night in the USL Championship. All knotted away from MD Myers. Monterey Bay now it is 6 winless with a singular draw at home to Memphis in that span. It's a side that's only lost once in 5 games on home ground this season. Driven away by Guzman. Bounced away from Aaron Malloy. Dos Santos. Off-season acquisition from Pittsburgh. Smith. Malloy, arguably the best midfielder in the championship. Driven long, skids toward Marcanic. All got prodded away by Grant Robinson. Up from Baca. Malloy retains. Chances created, ball recoveries. Aaron Malloy does a little bit of everything at an extraordinary level in the championship. He's going to be a fun one to watch. Number 6 in white and yellow tonight.
That's the same problem you have with the Charleston Battery, is very similar to that of Aaron Malloy. Dueling dragons, 6 different heads. You can cut off one and they come at you from another direction. I mentioned over the lineup eliminating the threat of Nick Marcanic, but then you can play into the target 9 up top and MD Myers, or play through Arturo Rodriguez at the 10. Aaron Malloy gives you everything, right? He's the guy that plays just off the back line. 5-yard ball turns, sprays at 40 yards. He can also play off the back shoulder of a 9, and just so consistent in his ability to maintain shape and form in the midfield for the Charleston Battery.
Monterey Bay wanted to be a bit direct early. That hangs up on the turf and snatched by Kuzemka, who's in for the injured Adam Grinwis. Broke his nose against Birmingham. If there's good news, it's that there is a 10-day layoff before the game against Pittsburgh on the 8th of June, and they're hoping to get Grinwis back by then. Malloy. Dos Santos. That skips out of play. Graham Smith, all-league player with Ben Pierman in Memphis. After a year-long hiatus from one another, reunited with the Battery. Casa, Torres. What a revelation this kid's been. Torres goes to work. Rodriguez bounces inside. Torres knocked away, falls. Rodriguez tried to get it between his feet. Appeal for the handball to the referee as Monovic goes unheard. Spin away by Fair. Gonzalez. All wrong for Donor. It totally stymied the attack. Guerrero. Fair. Guerrero. Torres steps in. Now Malloy. And the first foul of the match is a clear one from Guerrero. Makes his first start tonight.
Boys want to play a little bit tonight, don't they? They're clean on the ball to start the match for the Charleston Battery and Monterey Bay. You know, 2 debuts in terms of the starting 11 for Frank Yallop. He used the term the walking wounded earlier for a squad that's trying to find balance in their own right for the injuries that they've had to manage. How does that affect the chemistry? Can you find rhythm to try and find a way to stymie the Charleston Battery consistently? And that's the other thing about this Battery team, Mike, as good as they are and well-rounded, it's not a blip. You know, you can't go and find one moment to break them down, because even if you go and grab your goal, you know, 5-10 minutes in, all of a sudden, it's almost like poking the sleeping bear, right? Because they start to chase the game even more. They make you feel more uncomfortable, find a second, find a third, find a fourth.
Go ask Detroit about that earlier tonight. Scored the opener against Louisville, and by prodding that bear, ended up on the wrong end of a 5-1 haranguing.
Well, think about it too. If you're the Battery, as great as your start has been, and you're coming off 2 losses with the Louisville City win tonight, Louisville's got a game in hand and they're only 1 point behind you. So in theory, yeah, you're in the driver's seat because you're atop them in the conference standings, but the pressure's on you.
Sent long away from Myers. Player fell down. Arturo Rodriguez denied. Follow-up saved off the line from Marcanic. And then a foul from Guerrero. Blindsided Ikaza. That might be the first time Marcanic's had a really good chance this year. He hasn't scored. He's got a dozen goals.
One of those clever balls we talked about from Aaron Malloy, though, coming out of the midfield. Again, even when you don't connect from a deep-lying fashion, you're still stretching the opposition. Opens up the space underneath, allows this movement to come back through. And this is going to be an interesting one for the Charleston Battery, and to see how it looks underneath. You drop Ikaza a little bit deeper. He changes your dynamics defensively. A little bit more aggressive. Certainly likes to push higher up than Chris Allen does, but Arturo Rodriguez gives you that playmaking ability. A little bit more class inside the top of the 18 as well.
Allen out due to suspension, 2 yellow cards in a 4-minute span, and a 2-1 loss to El Paso. Locomotive garnering a win with their new coach Wilmer Cabrera at the helm. By the way, Arturo Rodriguez scored in the 8th minute, the lone goal in the first ever meeting between these two teams last year in Low Country in South Carolina. All eyes are on Malloy, no doubt. Ball blasted through at Siaha, and they got that wrong. Dos Santos. Best record in the Eastern Conference for now, the Battery. It was their first loss to a downtrodden El Paso team with a lot of talent. Segbers slid over the top of it. Baca, tremendous standing tackle, and this has become a real scrum. Chipped out into space, Archer chasing. Gonzalez flicks it along. Dixon! Kuzemka felt he had to deal with it.
Oh, I felt on the back end of this was already over the end line. I'm surprised the referee didn't blow the whistle right here. Dangerous play by Mark Segbers down on the ground, excuse me, but then coming the other direction. You know, I mentioned how comfortable Monterey Bay are on the ball. They also have a plenty amount of speed to their disposal.
High arcing cross, Green tied up with Dos Santos and a foul.
And there's one area that they can use to their advantage tonight is the aggression of the Charleston Battery on the defensive side, so that when you start to them centrally. Guys like Wilmer Martinez, Alex Dixon, Michael Gonzalez all have plenty of pace that you can find those transitional moments in behind Mike with all the space that the Battery have vacated.
Battery playing into a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind tonight on this 62-degree day. That is a hospital ball. Picked off and carried forward. Wilmer Martinez. That turned aside. Back out to Guzman. He got fouled. Guzman shakes it off.
Quite the disrupted pace to start the match. End-to-end stuff, challenges flying. Difficult to find any sort of rhythm for either one of these teams. At least not in terms of extended spells of possession.
Archer has taken far more than the allotted 6 seconds. Drives it long off the head of Myers. Robinson. Zemka. Santos spins off of Dixon. Archer. Aka for Monterey Bay. Given away cheaply by Gonzalez. Malloy. Torres, good first touch. Inside Rodriguez. Torres hangs the cross. Siaha collides and collects. Santos. Torres. The return, Rodriguez. Away by Kai Green. That'll be a corner.
That's the difference, though, right there. Arturo Rodriguez and his combination play on the outside, this time with Juan David Torres. Just the willingness, Mike, to go and explore the game in different areas than Emilio Icaza. And that's not a knock on Icaza. Emilio Icaza is just a bit more linear. You play into his feet and he finds moments. Arturo Rodriguez goes and creates those on his own. He jumps out of that 10 spot, goes and attacks the game. Ben Pierman wants him to be the guy that's going to go and stretch in that manner.
Pierman led the biggest year-over-year turnaround in championship history last season from the bottom. Ultimately, the championship final, and they were ahead in penalties in that shootout to Phoenix. Ultimately lost devastatingly. Come off just a week ago their Open Cup defeat at the hands of Atlanta United in penalties as well. Smith, Archer, you got some big boys to try and target on set pieces. Malloy. Ball snapped across the face of goal. Guerrero got there. Malloy sliding Marcanic to the end line. Off of Baca, corner.
Bengal corner, corner kick.
Beautiful rhythm section tonight. We ever decide if we were going to get you those percussion lessons for Christmas, or is that out of the budget?
Corner driven in. That's going to bounce by Archer and over Dos Santos. And out for a goal kick. I can't decide if I'm more of a brass man or a drum guy.
What are the items that go into the mouthpieces? Reeds?
Yes.
The wood pieces?
Those are for woodwinds.
That's right.
Like a clarinet.
My brother played the saxophone.
Or saxophone.
So, yeah.
You think you know a guy, and then he doesn't know that a reed doesn't go with a trumpet?
Like, I barely got through the recorder. I'm not musically inclined. You should know that about me by now.
But you do have a delicate ear.
Yeah.
We can all appreciate.
I let Siri handle the rest.
Frank Yallop has spoken to how this community has embraced the club. Still trying to make the postseason for the first time, their third year. One of the biggest budget clubs in the league. And injuries seemingly have ravaged them year after year. They've got about a half dozen guys on the outs here tonight, including Tristan Traeger, the former Charleston Battery forward. He's unable to go tonight. Yallop, 60-year-old manager who's done, well, a little bit of everything. Born in Watford, raised in Vancouver, Canadian Soccer Hall of Famer. Twice he's won MLS Cup, he's won the Shield, twice MLS Coach of the Year, Canadian head coach. Time in San Jose has connected him to the NorCal area. So too his time as the general manager at Fresno FC. Cranked over the top beyond Dos Santos. You know, it was fun talking with Ben Pierman about his chance to meet with Frank Yallop last year. There's not a lot of guys who say, when I grew up, I was watching great coaches in the American game. And Frank Yallop was one of the guys that Ben Pierman idolized as he contemplated the coach he wanted to be. Had a chance to see him last year in Charleston, a game that the Battery won. And in between the anthem and the start of the game, he made sure to go over and say, hey, I really admire the work you've done. And I've been a big fan for a long time.
Student of the game, Ben Pierman, right? And the recognition that he gives everybody around him as this meteoric rise continues for Ben Pierman. Real respect for those both before and after.
Walmer Martinez gliding, created the space, snapped away.
Always a nice surprise, by the way, for both Ben Pierman and specifically in this instance, Frank Yallop. He's a good person as well. One of those guys that you just never really want that conversation to end because of how nice he is.
Yeah.
At least from our vantage point, he's probably trying to get off the calls or leave the room as quickly as possible when we're present. We appreciate him not doing so.
You know, the conversations between Frank Yallop and Gary Bailey always tickle me too. Ball drops to Donor, and he couldn't quite corral it. Bailey, the longtime analyst around the championship, and spent, well, hundreds and hundreds of games playing for Sir Alex at Manchester United, and then Yallop, who had quite the career at Ipswich. Rolled out by Kuzemka. Ipswich are up now, right?
Oh, they're up. Yeah, back into the Prem.
Love to see it.
Now those conversations are relevant. You don't have to speak of the days of yore anymore. They can live in modern times.
The beauty of promotion relegation. Well, it's beauty now for Ipswich. For a long time, it wasn't. Anywho, in behind, settled by Grant Robinson.
And the guy goes, no, he doesn't like that lock. You're right. He doesn't like that. But he gets in front of him.
Torres. Baca intervened, recovered by Arturo Rodriguez. Torres slid it through, Myers chasing, and Siaha shielded just long enough.
One of my favorite little wrinkles that Ben Pierman has added to this Charleston Battery team going forward is the level of comfort you get out of the outside mids. Guys like Juan David Torres and Nick Marcanic, not just thriving in one-on-one situations, Mike, but challenging on those crossing patterns coming to the inside. It's one of the more difficult things to handle defensively, either as a holding midfielder or a center back, because they're eclipsing these plateaus where, okay, there's that gray area where is the midfield gonna mark, or do I have to leave my space and go and chase him? And if he steps up a little bit and the midfielder has him, all of a sudden, now the midfielder's in a 2v1. Which direction do you go? Who do I mark up against? Very difficult on those crossers to figure out where the immediate threat's coming from and which direction to choose.
Baca was trailing and knocks it away from Arturo Rodriguez. Only the 7th appearance of the year for Arturo, who broke his leg early in the season, already back. Getting the chance to go tonight. I think he's somewhere in the 60 to 80 minute fit kind of range. In the absence of Chris Allen, a 4-player logjam for 3 midfield spots for Charleston Battery. Beside Malloy and Icaza.
Very different conversation than about 18, 19 months ago, where the quality of one midfielder within their engine room wasn't present. Trying times for ownership group Rob Salvatore that saw them bring in Nick Cohen into the front office, then Ben Pierman in the offseason after his successful stint with Memphis 901 FC.
Marcanic outside, Torres, Marcanic. Guzman slides in, that's a goal kick.
Inside out once again, this time you've got Nick Marcanic coming on the far side. Similar type crossing pattern. The difference is he's made his way all the way to the near post. Just the way that he bends this run to come back around. Again, the idea is to try and play him off of his left foot. Okay, so you try and push him to his right. But those half channels, he's gonna go chase the game.
Rodriguez. Myers. Rodriguez saved, palmed away by Siaha. Falls out of the air for Torres. He could have taken the bearings off the net if he had connected to that. Instead, squirms over the line for a goal kick, and Charleston starting to grow into this.
Quickly taken off the 50-50 header though, and watch the space that opens up right here on the backside. Credit to Arturo Rodriguez, who holds this, and he's actually trying to find N.D. Myers. Streaking to the other way, but Myers picks it up quickly. Back on the crossing pattern, repays the favor. You know, that hesitation by M.D. Myers to just slow the game down That's impressive. Real maturity by the young striker up top. A guy whose form has carried over from his quality 2023 season. And a lot of guys in that situation, Mike, would have just let it fly, instead trusting the process to pick up Rodriguez on the back post run.
Donor, Dos Santos booked. First card of the game. Second yellow in 13 games for Nate Dos Santos. National champion at Marshall. 2 years with the Riverhounds, playing for Bob Lilly in Pittsburgh. And now to Charleston, where he's fit right in. Be fair. Probably the best thing Frank Yallop found in his brief stint as the caretaker in Las Vegas. Drops down to Donor. Donor crossing! And away. Gonzalez had his chance. His first start, trying to find his second goal. He scored against Vegas earlier this year.
You got to give credit to the ball by Moby Fair, though, to find the space on the far channel. Again, they are going to be aggressive on the outside, and you can make them pay. How quickly can you slice through the lines? And although they do well, near impossible for Gonzalez to get anything on that in the near post.
Dixon. Gonzalez, now Dixon again. The option is Donor inside, but Smith siphoned it briefly. Dixon up top, Baca. Gonzalez. Dixon. Only a goal and an assist to his credit. Missed the last few league games due to injury. Fair. Walmer Martinez inside. Ball ricochets over. Gonzalez saved by Kuzemka. 2 burgeoning chances for Gonzalez. Guerrero. Malloy stemmed it off. Martinez hangs it up. Off the head of Dos Santos and down into the corner. As Dixon went up for it. Best stretch here for Monterey Bay yet. Donor playing forward. Dos Santos got a piece. Ricochets out to Torres. Sends it flying. Marcanic. Rodriguez. Down goes Rodriguez at the hands of Baca and Green.
You have to wonder, if you're Frank Yallop on the touchline, how badly he wants this one back. Poetic in nature on the ball movement. Get a little bit lucky on the backside, but that right there. Michael Gonzalez, it seems he almost gets caught in between two minds. Wants to come back over it, Mike, with his laces to put some real pace on it and challenge the goalkeeper. But with your instep, you're taking it that way to try and pick out a better spotting goal. Instead, he goes right at the goalkeeper. Arturo Rodriguez certainly not lacking for the spirited side of the game, is he?
Never has.
Maybe a bit more out of it than what the camera showed you. At least that's his side of the story.
If you could have closed captioning for Baca's thoughts. He looks in at Elvis Osmanovic.
This is a family show, Mike.
Baca and Rodriguez make peace. The 10s make their way into the box, and from all that kerfuffle, a Charleston set piece. Been numerous to this point set pieces in this game. Malloy. Siaha. Rodriguez will circulate. Gonzalez picked him up and picked the ball off. Dixon's electric. He's gone, passing Malloy. Dixon, and with a deflection, finds Kuzemka. That's what Monterey Bay has been missing for the last few weeks with Dixon out.
He can certainly stretch the game here. The problem is you've got an entire back line for the Charleston Battery that are determined for every single one of them to make those recovery runs. Again, whether it's their ability to limit the amount of chances, prohibit you from finding the back of the net, or even the slight amount of mistakes that they do give up that sees them concede defensively. A ton of steps taken this year, and the pressure and their ability to recover, certainly one of them.
Donor got the wrong end of Torres. From Guzman. Fair. You know, the top for Gonzalez. Gonzalez again, Kuzemka to the rescue. Gonzalez, 3 point-blank chances, and yet to find his breakthrough for Monterey Bay. That's a big boy save from Kuzemka as well. Donor. Monterey Bay had won 4 in a row. That's led to a mountain of injuries and 6 winless. Dixon back for Gonzalez. Gonzalez went for that near post.
33 minutes in, 3 really good looks for Michael Gonzalez. He's got to do better. You know, the chance just prior off the instep, he knows that probably should have picked out a better angle instead of going right at the goalkeeper. Second one up over the top. Challenging the 2 center backs, doing a really good job, by the way, of trying to find a way to isolate space, either right in between or on either side of Leland Archer and Graham Smith.
Nothing to show for it. 23-year-old from Fresno, spent time at Fresno City College, then on to Sacramento State. Guerrero conversing about what in fact is a painted line. Robinson. Martinez. Guerrero taken away by Icaza. Marcanic. Malloy. You can keep watching the USL on CBS Sports Network as San Antonio FC take on El Paso Locomotive. It's a Copa Tejas showdown, Wednesday, June 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the CBS Sports Network. El Paso win over Charleston. That caught a couple people by surprise.
You go 11v10, it's never easy, right, for the Charleston Battery. Though if you go watch the game, out of all due respect to El Paso, Charleston was still the better team.
Even down to 10 the entire second half.
100%. It is kind of ironic, by the way, that you and I had the Open Cup match against Atlanta United midweek for the Charleston Battery. One of the questions we asked Ben Pierman was, when's the last time you guys had to suffer throughout a match? And his answer, while I politely disagree, was their most recent game at that point in time against Birmingham, right?
And he said, really, the last 20 minutes, which is a different conversation, to be sure.
And now all of a sudden you had to go 120 minutes without finding the back of the net.
Torres laid it off. Malloy sends it wide.
You didn't concede, but then you come the next match, you go down to 10 men. They've had to suffer over the last two matches. So again, back-to-back losses, you're coming cross-conference, trying to find a way to make sure that you're continuing to progress and give yourself these opportunities up the pitch. It's not an easy thing to do. The mental battles are one of the hardest ones to overcome in this game. And while they've certainly conceded some quality opportunities to Monterey, they have created quite a few in the opening 36 minutes so far.
Baca. Another pitch of the Select ball to come. Select is the official match ball supplier. The USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Comes out to Graham Smith. Mentioned pregame, top 5 in really every category of substance on the offensive and defensive end for the Battery. 8 wins, a loss, and 3 draws in their opening 12 games. Guzman kept it away from Myers, the former unanimous Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. Pride of Rutgers really got that program going with Jim McElderry and Gavin Wise at the helm. They've been raving about Myers since he arrived at Rutgers as a transfer and eventually into the professional game with NYCFC 2, now the Charleston Battery.
I love listening to the conversation with him, the back and forth between you two, and talking about his journey. And while he certainly started to light the room up about the success that he's started to gain, it seemed like he was more interested in this current trip and maybe some of the local animal fare, if you will.
He said, here I am out getting coffee and I hear the call. It's distinct. It's the call of a sea lion. I'd never seen one before. I'm sending videos and pictures to my family. Ball sent long over Marcanic, and Dr. Sea Lion won't get there either.
Hard to believe they didn't write those animals into Jersey boys.
I told him if I saw one of those out on Long Island, I'd be running the other way. I know that for sure. Laughed and said maybe in the afternoon. We spoke to him yesterday morning Pacific time. Go try and find a few more. This is a tad direct. It's going to check up on the turf, asking questions from Dixon, but the flag is up. But it's interesting, right, with Myers, the NYCFC draft selection in the 3rd round is this sent along by Ikaza out in front of the aforementioned Myers. he hadn't really talked with them. Had talked to other teams, but, you know, it's a local kid from Jersey, ends up lighting Next Pro on fire, and suddenly he's looking for an opportunity to grow his career, comes to the championship. It's been a great match in Charleston. Donor over Gonzalez, and Segbers will run it down alongside Fair. Guerrero into the width, Donor. Slaloming in, Guerrero, that takes a deflection off of Gonzalez. Some huge games in the championship coming up here in June. Sacramento and Tampa Bay start that crazy month over on ESPN Plus. Plenty of coverage on the Golazo Network. Copa Tejas on CBS Sports Network. League One finds its way onto ESPN2 middle of June. And that Pittsburgh-Louisville game always has some implications. That's playoff game after playoff game after playoff game, huh?
The way this Louisville team is playing right now, it's
scorching.
It seems like they're playing every single game like it's their last one, fighting for their lives. Nobody told them they were inside 15 games to start the year.
Torres, Siaha, that was dipping on him, and he does just enough to shovel it away. Corner. A little fortune to it, but Torres doesn't mind.
Take what the game gives you right now for the Charleston Battery. To be fair, struggling a little bit in terms of their overall representation on the width, so they have started to bring more bodies to the inside, and it's just too much traffic right now for either one of these squads to get any clean look.
Cardinale Stadium, home of Cal State Monterey Bay. Renovated in 2021. This club launched in 22. Monterey Bay looking for what would be one of their signature results here tonight. The Battery continue to press on for a goal before halftime. Corner for the Battery. Wide open header. Back across. Saved off the line. Was it in? From Myers, it was not. It looked like the go-ahead for Charleston. Now they're caught flat-footed. Monterey Bay flying into the final third. Navigating in. Off the foot of Martinez and into the grasp of Kuzemka.
I gotta tell you, I wasn't sure as to whether or not this crossed the line. I'm almost positive it's a handball. Redirection on the backside. That touch right there.
Archer. Torres. Lost by Myers. Of course, no VAR in the championship. So what the referee sees in real time is what it is. Fair. Baca. Green. Dos Santos arrives. Donor goes down. Let's go back to the potential handball here in the box.
Watch the bottom side of your screen. More Donor just shifting over the near post. Watch his left arm. It's got my vote. Point to the spot. And the other side of that is some people might look and think oh, his arm's next to his torso, but if you watch, his arm's moving away from his body, and then it hits the arm, and the arm jolts back in.
Guerrero. Ball caroms out over Donor. Sagbers. Torres. Forget no stoppage.
Okay.
At 45 minutes by my count now. Let's take one more look at the handball. Dev, does it make a difference if it's off the head of Donor and down into his arm or no?
But the hand still has to be in a natural position, which if you watch the left arm, I don't think it is. To me, that angle, again, we're privy to it. His arm is up and away from the body. Okay, then it comes down. I don't see it hit his head either, to be fair, but still, I get your point there. Monterey's gonna feel lucky in the sense that, okay, yeah, they didn't concede to one of the best attacking units in the USL Championship. I'd look at it on the other side. They should be leading right now. They definitely had the more clear-cut opportunities. Charleston Battery, though, really started to find a better rhythm as the half went on. A little bit more aggressive out of the midfield, better representation on the width. Gotta find a way to get MD Myers more active.
Halftime here in Seaside. Plenty of action, but no goals yet. Monterey Bay, 5th in the Western Conference, holding Charleston at bay. Coming up at the half, a look around the Open Cup landscape. Back in Seaside, California, halftime here on CBS Sports Network. Out of the championship, Monterey Bay and the Charleston Battery. Welcome back into the booth, everybody, with Evan Kerr, Mike Watson. You and I have the great joy of calling the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup throughout the year, and here we are now in the quarterfinals. 5 MLS teams remain, 3 out of the championship still going.
Just the second time in the modern era, which stretches back to the 2011 for the USL Championship, that we see 3 teams enter the quarterfinals. All 3, though, looking to best that year. Nobody made it to the Final Four.
How about we show you the 3 teams that do remain in the matchup that they'll have on either July the 9th or July the 10th. Let's start with this Indy 11 team. Dev, they are on absolute fire.
We had them on CBS earlier this year against Louisville City, and they drew a dud in the sense that they didn't play very well, and yet they still hit the back of the net. To me, it's the regularity of that. It's their ability to stretch the game in the final third, to be so challenging. Now, they're still good defensively, but they're one of just 2 teams in the USL Championship to hit the back of the net every single match.
Meanwhile, New Mexico United, their inaugural year, they made that fairy tale run to the quarterfinals. They are in this one.
2-way now. This team always had glimpses in the final third, and would say that you could even say they got a little bit more regular in that conversation, but now it's both defending and attacking. I love their ability to maintain control within the midfield. I just like the fact that they have confidence. Eric Quill came in, he said, I want us to be forward-facing, I want us to be aggressive. You get that from all 11 back to front from this New Mexico United squad. Perfect in the month of May.
Meanwhile, Sacramento paid a price in their cup set win over San Jose. Rodrigo Lopez tore an ACL out for the year, and 2 to 3 months without Russell Cicerone.
Good news is you're still unbeaten. Bad news is you're going to be very shorthanded. The talk for this SAC team was going to be about, guess what? We don't just have quality at the 9 position, Mike. Now we've got depth. Well, you lost 2 of those pieces, and your captain. Can you continue this brilliant run in both domestic and cup play without the 2 of them? They have the most arduous task in front of them.
Most likely cup set out of this group. It's worth noting Sacramento, the only championship team that will get to host in this round.
Indy 11. I would say Indy 11 because Atlanta United has been struggling so heavily. You know, they just got a win against Inter Miami tonight, which is a massive win, no doubt about it. But they still got to go back home. They got to find consistency. Everything that they don't have, everything that Indy 11 do.
All right, you'll see it in July on Apple TV. Meanwhile, here on CBS Sports Network, 2 of the best out of the championship. Monterey Bay holding it together with duct tape and baling wire, but still hanging in, scoreless at the half. Here's a live look at Devin Kerr alongside the side of the field. Nice of you to dye your beard for the occasion.
That's me with the scarf on the bottom right, and the blonde hair. That's what I used to look like, by the way. Then I started working with you.
Yeah, the irony. All right, 0-0, Monterey Bay and Charleston. Come the highlights. We start the 6th minute of play.
They opened things up quickly and did a really good job of that high presence from MD Myers, and then the second and third attacking waves that become so prevalent, especially when you bump Arturo Rodriguez into that 10 position. The attacks continued. This is my favorite movement in the entirety of the first half for the Charleston Battery. The unselfishness of MD Myers, a striker in form, to slow the game down and allow Arturo Rodriguez to get over that right-hand shoulder. Quality lacking, though, right at Anthony Siaha for the save.
And then Monterey Bay finding their way. Martinez inside, who would find Gonzalez in the width.
3 in about 14 minutes here for Michael Gonzalez, that really had a good opportunity against Daniel Kazemka. Quality lacking overall. Monterey Bay held serve, though, in the first half against the best in the Eastern Conference and the USL Championship.
We got another half to play. Can someone find the separator? Monterey Bay and Charleston on CBS Sports Network. Charleston has kept their opponent from scoring in the first half for the 9th time, most of any team in the league. Monterey Bay and Charleston scoreless at the intermission. Here we go for the second half in Seaside here on CBS Sports Network. Dev, you and I looked at each other. We saw the first half highlights. You look at the overall expected goals, which feel like they short Monterey Bay quite a bit. There's a goal in here somewhere. Monterey Bay looking to get the first lick of the half, and Dixon watches Kuzemka swallow off his line.
There's no chance you can convince me that Monterey Bay had an XG of .05 in the first half.
This is the first time I think I've ever straight up disagreed with our partners at Opta.
I thought you were going to say with me.
Well, I agree with you.
That's a regular thing for you and I. Listen, I give credit to Monterey Bay because this is one of those things where you're kind of in that whatever for the match because, again, so many names, 5+ once again on the injury report for Frank Yallop. And certainly not just depth guys, but guys that are regularly in the starting 11, unavailable tonight. You got one of, if not the best team in the USL Championship, though I'm sure Louisville City will have something to say about that, as do Sacramento Republic, coming into your venue, just trying to find a way to stay relevant. They did that and more. They were very impressive in the first half, but not a lot to show for it. The job's far from done. It's the thing about this Charleston Battery team. We talked about it in the first half, Mike. 45 minutes isn't enough. 90 minutes isn't enough. Have to stay locked in the whole way.
This escapes. Take a look at the first half statistics between the two teams. Charleston, 11 of the 14 shots and 6 of the 7 on target. This is a team that most of last year didn't possess the possession advantage in many games. 61% of the ball here on the road. To your point about Charleston, Archmed out with a knee injury, Dawkins out with a knee injury, Traeger out with an injury to his ribs. Orendine, the 26-year-old former trialist, is out as well. Maldonado out with a knee. I just named 5 forwards, all of varying degree of substantiveness to this attack, but you'd take any of the 5 tonight. Torres. Mark Sackbers. Forward from Mikasa. Dos Santos. Malloy. Malloy again. It's all the way back when he was playing at Penn State and at Reading United in USL League Two that I first heard a coach say, this guy's a throwback. Aaron Malloy's old school. Great leader, tremendous passer of the ball. Tempo setter. League One MVP finalist and then all league multiple times in the championship. Scooped all the way down to Siaha. Rodriguez, Marcanic the target for Myers. Ikaza, snap down to Myers. Send it toward a shadow.
I really like this change Monterey Bay has made. They did it right around like the 32nd or 34th minute, Mike, with Michael Gonzalez coming to the outside, Alex Dixon up top. They've got a better shape defensively of keeping the game in front of them and allowing Alex Dixon to go and apply the pressure, and yet still being that guiding light up top. They just need to find a way to make sure that they're giving him proper support because they did lose a little bit. The advancement on that right flank with Gonzalez, certainly not the 3 chances we saw in about 12 minutes in the first half. Someday, as the statistician that you are, you can explain to me how he himself had 2 saves made in front of goal, and yet they only have 1 shot on target. So, you know, there's that.
I'm just here, Devin. Fair.
It's unfair.
Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. I was delighted to be joined this week by Nicholas Murray.
Legend.
He finally pulled the curtain back and let us in.
The USL Championship guru, all-knowing, all-seeing and hearing. Finally, the soothsayer stepped forward.
Omnipotent. Ikaza, omnipresent in this game. Baca. Falls kindly to Ikaza, too kindly, offside. Charleston a point ahead of Louisville, top of the Eastern Conference. Monterey Bay sitting a tie for 4th on points out west. The top 8 out of the 12 in each conference will make the postseason this year. Robinson. Sometimes you're aiming for one panel on the ball, hit one panel too far to the right. Smith perseveres. NorCal match here, Monterey Bay hosting in Seaside, California, where so often the temps will drop substantially once the sun goes down. We started in the mid-60s. This game will finish in the mid-50s now that the sun is set and the lights are on. Juan David Torres, Arturo Rodriguez, former League One MVP. Marcanic. Arturo Rodriguez. Whisked toward Marcanic. Malloy commits the foul on Walmer Martinez. Change here, Revelar comes on.
I was waiting to see as to whether or not they were going to stop play overall here, as Emilio Ikaza is having some trouble with his boots. Just down in front of the Charleston Battery technical area. Right over for Miggy Guerrero. Fresh legs into the midfield that has been depleted of any sort of substance of depth. Adrian Revelar, the idea that he can try to continue this advancement. And we saw quite brilliantly, I might add, in the really 15 to 30 minute mark, Monterey Bay. He lost a little bit of that.
Rodriguez finds another gear. Myers holds up. Baca closed him down. Good work by Robinson, but he's opened up space. Icaza knocked down by Walmer Martinez. Played a little bit of every wide position on the field. It's defending at the back of Icaza now, and Robinson rolls it over the line.
Balance seems off on the right-hand flank for the Charleston Battery tonight. We've seen more movement from Monterey Torres and Nate Dos Santos, at least in the build, getting higher up in the pitch. You know, looking at the passing matrix, those are the players that one connects with.
Segbers. Walmer Martinez just put on a clinic.
And Nick Marcanic specifically, he had 9 successful passes in the first half, 6 of which were either lateral or negative. It means they've done a really good job of forcing him back. And so within that, this is what you're looking for. You're trying to find a way to get a higher presence on that right-hand side. Inverting Marcanic isn't the problem. It's that when you bring him in and you can't play off of him or get him forward-facing, you've got to find a way to get another body attacking up on that right-hand side. See if they can continue to get Mark Segbers involved in that conversation.
Gonzalez races by, hangs across, too high for Moby Fair. Is that a Monterey Bay adjustment that's created that problem for Marcanic and Charleston, or is that just a tactical disconnect right now for the Battery?
It's smart because it's the game plan in theory is the exact same thing that you saw from Atlanta United. So what they did with their outside back was they just kept them. So you keep them deeper. It takes away some of your ability to stretch the game over there, so you become one-dimensional in that sense. But you've got extra coverage because now it's not just Grant Robinson who's helping Mark.
Top of the area, Gonzalez leading. Donor. Good interchange. Donor got the end line. Serves. Kuzemka went flying for it. Archer got it away. And Baca recovers from Monterey Bay.
It's not just your outside back. And that man right there, Grant Robinson, he's doing a really good job of being patient, keeping the game in front of him and sitting deep. But you've also got Charlie Guzman in behind you. And also, as deep at times as they're having to defend, Rafa Baca doing a really good job in that holding midfielder position of sort of cheating a little bit, so that when Marcanic starts to come back to the inside, you eliminate his ability that when the ball does come central, to find that link up if you're the Battery. So you force the play another direction. That's why they're working more down on the left-hand flank tonight.
Malloy grimaces, and not America's favorite McDonald's character. The only thing purple about this is going to be the back of his leg. You strike me as a Mayor McCheese man.
Mark, what's up, man?
You're a special individual. Cheese over the coleslaw for sure.
Half past never. But you, I'm loving it. Out of play. Throw from Monterey Bay. Frank Yolp was quick to point out, you said at the start of the year we'd be sitting tied for 4th through 12 games. Yes, please. That's exactly where this Monterey Bay team sits, right at the union of the home and road playoff game in the quarterfinal round, although we won't see that in action till October into November.
I would say the problem within that, though, Mike, is 13 games played in the Western Conference in the USL Championship overall. The only team that has played the same amount.
Ball asking for Marcanic. Took a bit of contact from Guzman. This needs to be something one way or the other, you'd think. Unless you argue the turf did the job.
Well, there's certainly a little bump. Just didn't necessarily think that it was on the lower body. Nope. enough there whatsoever. Marcanic just losing his footing. Charleston Battery, Monterey Bay, with this match tonight, both have played 13 matches. That's most in the East and West and USL Championship overall. Everybody else in the West, Mike, for the Monterey Bay to continue on that side of things. At least 2, if not 3 games in hand. That's concerning, as congested as that conference is. Again, coming into the night, just 3 points separating Monterey Bay and Colorado Springs, who's all the way down in 9th. 6 points if you want to drop down to Tulsa in 11th. Margins really narrow there.
Ball inside, Martinez. Taxi. Walmer Martinez has featured 20 times for El Salvador out of Santa Cruz, California. It's Hugo Perez who initially brought him in for CONCACAF Olympic men's qualifying, then eventually the senior national team World Cup qualifiers. The first signing for Monterey Bay out of Cal State Monterey Bay. Archer. Martinez initially went to Hartford as an invitee for their trials back in 2021. Once this club sprung out of the ground right off the campus that he initially matriculated from, easy decision to come back home. Rodriguez, Malloy, Rebel R shot out of a cannon. Icaza's about to find that out too. Dos Santos. Rodriguez. Icaza, bothered by Fair. Myers. Sagbers. Rodriguez. He's dangerous from here. Torres. Monterey Bay have had an answer for everything. Now Torres. Caught by Siaha.
I think this is an area they can unlock, though, because if they just watch the movements for the Battery, you continue high on this right-hand side, whether you unlock it with Marcanic, Arturo Rodriguez popping out of that pocket, or getting Segbers high. 2 out of the 3 there. Very difficult defensively to find that rotation consistently, and specifically targeting Walmer Martinez. Drag him deeper and make him defend. Don't allow him to continue this high line and get involved in the attack.
Dixon lost it at his feet. Baca. Brand Robinson. Injuries have limited him now to just a 6th out of 13 possible games for Monterey Bay. Myers. Rodriguez swarmed. Brought down by Malloy. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play with your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball free to play. Download now. Is there a club you'd play with? I know you don't have time for this, 3 kids and all. E-football?
Barely get lunch. All of a sudden, you want me to be a gamer?
Yeah.
I could tell you the console I'd be on, but...
Sega Genesis?
Yeah, exactly. Do they have e-football for Atari? What happened to the good old-fashioned game of Pong?
Yeah, you did always strike me as more of a Pac-Man type. Baca. Revelar. Smith.
Good tackle.
Offered well. Malloy just got run over by Revelar. There's the whistle. Revelar has not been afraid of running at or into anybody or anything.
I told you coming in, they lost a little bit of edge when Guerrero lost his legs. You just have to do so much in the engine room to try and find a way to put pressure on this Charleston Battery team. Staying switched on. All the movement, outside in. 3 talented players in front of you. What is MD Myers going to look like when he drops into that pocket?
Ball offered for Siaha to claim behind Marcanic. Marcanic came up a bit awkwardly off that, rotating his left arm around. By the way, the Jägermeister Cup continued tonight down in League One.
Tell me more.
Your Union Omaha boys featured tonight in the Jägermeister Cup.
Rumor has it they came out on top.
New interleague tournament. I love the idea that the tiebreaker is goals scored. I want that everywhere from now on. Yep, whistle did go on Malloy. Charleston has the sub waiting. Are they going to make it now?
That's it, Robinson!
I wouldn't.
Now they are going to make the change now. So Arturo Rodriguez, this is the longest he's played in a game all year, and you can see he's a bit labored coming off. Last 68 minutes. And then in comes Robbie Crawford. It's said in any story there's one side, the other side, and the truth. When both sides say the same thing, you can understand how Robbie Crawford did enjoy his time at Monterey Bay after leaving Charleston. But the opportunity to go back to the East Coast, where his young burgeoning family was, to a club that loved and respected him, ultimately it made sense for all sides. Crawford returns to Monterey Bay for the first time since last year's midseason trade.
Just watch this defensively, because making a change on a set piece can really disrupt what the marking looks like on dead balls.
That was not the service that they were intending.
A little change here, though, with Emilio Ikaze. He'll play a little bit higher now.
Revelar Dixon! Glancing blow.
So it's twofold. Ikaze's got high energy. He likes to apply the pressure, and he's going to chase the game a little bit. He won't come as extended to the outside as Arturo Rodriguez does, but as he does go, there's going to be space underneath. Rafa Baca is the type of person that can really usher this thing coming forward and try and 5 movements, whether it's coming from the outside or right up through Route 1. So to exploit for Monterey Bay.
Down from Malloy, Revelar. Baca. Hits the gas, finds Martinez. No, give Kuzemka a lot of credit. The reality is not a lot of experience at Clemson, goes to UNC Charlotte, couple of years there. But when you lose Trey Muse, you feel really pleased to get Adam Grinwis in, but that's not a deep room. Kuzemka has stepped in with Grinwis sidelined by a broken nose and done about as well as you could imagine. Revelar slices outside, the step in on Dos Santos, ball lined out of play. Couple critical points hanging the balance. Monterey Bay looking for their first win in 7. Win for Charleston keeps them comfortably for the moment ahead of Louisville, who've been charging now within a point with a game in hand. Baca. Donor. Martinez, scuffed clearance, Robinson. Martinez just went down, Robinson continued. He slides out, and Walmer Martinez is probably gonna need some attention. He reached down to try and stretch and then went right onto his backside.
He's cramping for sure, feeling the effects. Up and down all night on that left flank against Nick Marcanic. Mark Segbers has become more active.
This is the second time we've done this tonight.
It's a game of inches, Mike.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Dev. That broadcast school really paid off. Robinson, Martinez. Martinez, Baca. Baca shifts across through as far as Torres, who's faded of late in this game. Leading Marcanic, racing across the halfway line. Back line dropping, back heel on, Marcanic. Guzman going stride for stride. Marcanic went down and Guzman right in his face. And there's a lot going on down there too. And they are still arguing behind the play. You can tell Guzman thought that was performative on Marcanic's part, and he lost his head. Scoreless into the final quarter hour tonight in Seaside. Crawford. Turned over to Baca. Donor hangs the cross through for Martinez. Fair comes up for it, bounces off the back of Malloy. And Icaza's off and running. Opens Malloy into space. Torres sprinting, Kai Green. A crushing effort.
Just not the best decision overall from Aaron Malloy. Make the same statement about Nick Marcanic just prior.
Chewy for Walmer Martinez. Martinez lasted another couple minutes after that cramp, but that was it. Ball whipped across. Fair handing off. Slide by Robinson.
Watch out.
That's a yellow. He's lucky that's a yellow. As he slid, his cleats came up. And that a cause of real concern.
Oh, I thought he was fortunate not to be sent off. Watch the studs. That is, he pulls back just a touch at the end, but they come high. He's very fortunate that the studs on the bottom don't catch the entire shin of Aaron Malloy here. Even intent though, Mike. There's a lot in that for me for the referee to go back pocket.
Conway enters, scored last time out as a substitute in the 87th to equalize against El Paso, only to ultimately see El Paso bang home the winner from Amando Moreno, completing his brace at 90+2. Malloy. Now pass to Santos. Plenty of action in June around the championship in League One on CBS and ESPN networks. Of course, then there was the news earlier today, Dev, about the USL's upcoming matches on CBS, Oakland and Sacramento on CBS July 21st, and Detroit City, Rhode Island on August the 3rd. You and I get to go out to the town, see that NorCal matchup, and then I know you and I have waited a long time to go see Detroit in all its glory in person.
Keyworth, the key. Love the atmosphere, love the environment.
Just wait, because the expected, they just bought land in Detroit to build what's going to be a celestial new venue.
Just hope the culinary accoutrement follow. The far side of that stadium always has such a wide variety of delights to choose from.
We talking Little Caesars or Robinson?
Salted pretzel.
Robinson out beyond Dixon. Chance to pick this back up for Monterey Bay, and it's off kilter for Dixon. Torres. Baca goes sliding. Finally, Robinson broke it up. First year for the championship on CBS Sports. See about 25 games here on CBS Sports Network. A multitude of games on the CBS Sports Golazo Network, on the CBS Sports app. Zegbers.
Mistake.
Chuy Enriquez trying to get end line. That's going to be a corner. So from that mistake, can Monterey Bay capitalize?
Both teams have been very direct on these restarts that we've seen. Set pieces. I wonder as to whether or not they will try and play around that idea this time and put something on the deck. Try and draw the opposition out, reset their lines, and get cute from another angle.
No. Robinson. Now the run-out's on for Charleston. Threaded up to Conway. Myers. All chipped over. Conway collects. Enriquez, not once, but twice, now a third time.
Oh, boy.
Conway only just came into this game.
Someone explained to me how a card's not pulled in this situation, and credit to Chuy Enriquez, by the way. A couple of touches, frustration ensues. Explain to me how that's not a yellow card. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. From behind. Can't necessarily say it's stopping a promising attack, but there's no intent whatsoever to do anything there. So try and foul a player. No play on the ball.
No, that was a cynical challenge. Taken away by Baca. Shifty into open field. Enriquez. Robinson on the first time. Ball knocked down. Dos Santos heard footsteps. Gonzalez. There's 3 great chances in about a 10 to 15 minute span, and not much sense from Gonzalez. Guzman. Guzman!
To you with the addition of Robbie Crawford. Bumped Ikaza up high, and then all of a sudden a little change that now sees this striker just underneath the front 9 of the Charleston Battery. More space for Rafa Baca to step into.
Turned over to Crawford. Up by Malloy.
Thanks for coming. Good game. So far, anyway.
Sorry, gamer culture, GG. Donor. Revelar. Fair. Revelar turned away by Dos Santos. Will they get the cross away? Now they have. Smith, that's a no-fly zone. Revelar. Chip through again. Archer, still a no-fly zone. Marcanic sends this for a ride. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. You can catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Sacramento, Tampa Bay, the game of the weekend around the championship? Very well could be. Be an unbelievable matchup. By the way, Neil Collins back in the country was actually at the Dallas-Tampa Bay Open Cup match on Wednesday night. Hopefully treated to many iron brews on the lads.
For the lads.
Down goes Enriquez.
I don't mind that Pittsburgh Indy game, though. I'm with you. I'd say that the Republic Rowdies game is probably the talk of the town, but the 11 team that seemingly do no wrong once they cross midfield. Producing the spectacular out of thin air. Sean McCauley's done well with that group, gotten them healthy, most importantly. It's a Pittsburgh team that has, say what, been inconsistent, if you will.
Conway. That's simple for Siaha.
The defensive record at Highmark still below 1 goal against a game for Bob Lilly since 2018. One wonders if there's one goal in this game. Sort of felt like there was early on, but it's gone a bit stale. I would say that if you had to lean one way or the other, it's got to be the home squad right now.
Home squad that has a 3-game home stand right now. Play again on the weekend. They get the #1 team in the East, then the #1 team in the West, New Mexico, this weekend. Then they'll host Sacramento next week, unbeaten, #2 in the West. As Frank Yalp lamented, it's a shame we don't have a full complement with all the injuries that they're facing, and yet they've really forced Charleston to try and churn and manufacture in this second half. Haven't had a lot of success with it. Doesn't mean they can't take the 3 points right here. By the way, Dev, and maybe the best story of this game is the fact that Charleston, because they're down their starting goalkeeper, Adam Grinwis, have dressed 18-year-old Goose Creek, South Carolina native Enzo Mori, who signed an academy deal 9 days ago. He's on a flight at 5 a.m. tomorrow to get home by 3. His mom works for the Charleston airport. We'll pick him up and take him to high school graduation. He walks tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. This man has 15 hours and 38 minutes to traverse the country as soon as we're done with these 3 minutes of added time.
And all he's thinking about is the next 2.5 if you're on the bench for the Charleston Battery to try and find a way to get a point out of this. Seems like 3. Well, written in the stars tonight for the Charleston Battery. Not the best of nights for Nick Marcanic. Certainly not the best of nights for Michael Gonzalez. That some of the best chances, at least from what we've seen so far from Monterey Bay, he put to waste.
Rebel R. This crowd is bundled up. The temps have dropped into the 50s. They're looking for that one vital moment here at the end. Meanwhile, Charleston trying to send Enzo Mori home with a story he won't forget before he dons the cap and gown. And with it, a little bit of breathing room atop the Eastern Conference. Good header wide from Myers. Torres gliding forward. It's behind Conway. He'll chase it down. And he's got company. Enriquez grabbed it. You didn't get Enzo a graduation gift, did you?
It's in the mail.
Myers back to Malloy.
It's got to be quicker here.
Charleston stymied again. Malloy. That is brilliant. Torres! Siaha not only saved it, but claimed it at the line. That may have been the last really good chance of this game.
Beautiful vision by Aaron Malloy. This is what you get when you play both nines, by the way. Watch MD Myers. Little surprised they didn't try and cut this back here. Though credit to Kai Green. He does not make that window easy to squeak it through.
Header down from Segbers, Kuzemka.
Still, that distance, that pace, near impossible for any goalkeeper.
Ball clipped inside. Crawford in his return to Seaside. It appears the last chance of this game is going to belong to Charleston. Torres blocked by Baca. And that is full time. Monterey Bay start their homestand with an important point against the leaders of the Eastern Conference. And Charleston watches their lead in the East dwindle to just 2 points. 0-0.
It's the overall quality lacking for both squads. Monterey Bay and their inability to finish their chances early on. Credit to them, they hung around within the match, but once their bench started to get tested, they don't have the same sort of depth that the Charleston Battery do. Charleston Battery and their rhythm felt off once again. 3 games running, just 1 goal to their name in the run of play. And this high-powered attack left wanting and waiting once again, though still atop the Eastern Conference, at least for now.
We'll wrap this one up on the other side of the break. Monterey Bay and Charleston battering one another on this night. There were chances, but no goals between them. Post game coming up on CBS Sports Network. It was announced today, more games on CBS from the championship. Oakland Roots and Sacramento Republic, July 21st, Dev.
An incredible opportunity to showcase two great venues, but also I look at the timing of this, Mike. End of July, beginning of August, right about the time that everybody's looking to get healthy, make that playoff push. Why not do it with some momentum coming off a historic year in terms of broadcast for the USL Championship? Go give yourself some confidence for a playoff run.
On August 3rd, you'll see the expansion side Rhode Island away to Detroit. You'll see those games on CBS. Meanwhile, here tonight on CBS Sports Network, these two teams really did battle it out, but there's no goals to be found. Monterey Bay and Charleston Battery finish 0-0. Battery retained first place in the Eastern Conference. PBA Tour Finals is coming up here on CBS Sports Network as Monterey Bay claim a point at home against the top team in the Eastern Conference. For Devin Kerr and our entire team in Seaside and beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching as Monterey Bay capture an impressive point tonight against the Battery. So long for now. Good night.